Welcome to Crane's Barn Grill. Normally it's my daughter, my son, and I watching terrible movies and laughing and making jokes about them and enjoying them. I also like watching forensic files and crime documentaries and serial killer documentaries. Leave a like and a subscribe. Click the subscribe button. Leave a comment down at the bottom if there's one that you would like me to watch. And I've got my rum and Coke, so I've got that going on, and I've got my popcorn. So can't enjoy a good show without popcorn. Well, let's get this going. This is Forensic Files Bump in the Night. So let's check this out and see what we got.
A man sleeping in his bed was brutally murdered by an intruder.
Looks like a baseball bat. That
The
sucks.
victim lived alone, but with 3 ex-wives.
3 ex-wives?
No
Come on
shortage
now.
of suspects.
3 ex-wives. Because you try to play the odds. So if I've got 3 ex-wives, there's 3 extra people that might want to kill me. Because there's a reason that they're an ex. And you just never know. So don't have 3 ex-wives or 3 ex-husbands.
47-year-old Bill Lowe's rarely missed work. His employer considered Bill to be one of their most reliable and
Look at that.
conscientious truck drivers. So
People
when
that do
Bill
that with
didn't
their
show
hair,
up for
just go
work for
bald.
2
Just go bald. Come on now. Bald works way better than that.
I told my wife that when I run by.
See, look at his brother. Just cut the hair short like that. You'd be all right.
The street from where
Better than combing it.
Bill,
That's ridiculous.
Bill lives. So I went to his house.
Inside, Joe found his brother. He said he'd never seen anything.
Well, I
like
hope
it.
you've never
And
seen
there,
anything like that.
where he's laying in
I mean, what
bed,
kind of horrible life do you
blood
live
all over the
if
floor,
you walk into your
blood all
brother's
over the wall,
place and there's blood
just like
all
I
over the place on the ceiling,
went through hell.
and you're like,
The
seen that
officers
before?
Told me they had never
God.
seen quite so much blood on the ceiling.
That's a
before.
you lived a
Bill's
rough life.
body was under the bed sheets.
You wouldn't think it happened to you.
I don't know.
Or
After
your
watching
family.
Forensic Files, I
In a
tend to start to
small
worry
town
about that
Prairie,
happening to me or my
police and
family.
sheriff officers all knew Bill Lowe's. They said he was an easygoing
That
man
hair.
who never finished high school
Oh
but
my
was
God.
a hard worker.
There was no indication that William Lowe's was involved in any kind of drugs or gangs or any kind of activity or illegal activity like that.
It would be kind of hard to be involved in any kind of gang activity with that hair. So,
Lowe's had a habit of leaving his doors unlocked, a habit his friends and family would have known.
Whoever committed this crime either knew that there was a certain door would be left unlocked or they had a set of keys. So it was someone.
or a random person that just walked into his house.
Wallet in his pants pocket, undisturbed. It has.
Okay, so there's no robbery, but there's blood all the place and beaten. That's somebody you knew.
The victim knew his killer or was related to
Knew his killer,
it's
something like
either
that.
A friend or a family member.
Especially if there was nothing stolen. Somebody just walked in the house and beat you to death.
Large wounds above and slightly behind the ear, then going towards the back of the head.
And Dr. Case found proof that Bill Lowe's was asleep when he was
you were hit
attacked
4 times?
and never heard the killer.
How did they know he was
No
asleep?
defensive wounds, which are wounds that we
No defensive wounds,
sometimes
that
see
would
when
make
people
sense.
are trying to ward off an injury.
You're not
or-
just going to sit there and let somebody bash you in the head without putting an arm up or something. Even if they snuck up behind you and hit you, unless it knocked you out on the first one, you're going to roll over, put your hands up or something.
Totally deaf in one
So-
ear and partially deaf in another, which also explained why he could be sleeping. in
Partially
bed
deaf, yeah, that would.
and not hear the killer.
But of course, you don't have to be partially deaf. You can stick up me in the middle of the night. I'm out. When I'm asleep, I'm out.
Asleep in bed, and from the blood spatter evidence, you can tell that he never moved at all.
Can you imagine what it takes to beat somebody with a bat that's just laying there? It's different if you're self-defense or defense of somebody else. But somebody just laying there and what did it take just to kill somebody like that? That's something I can't contemplate because I couldn't do it. I can't even
Outside,
think what it
however,
would take to do that.
They found their first piece of forensic evidence. A shoe impression.
See, a shoe impression in the mud, you could tell a lot of stuff. You could tell how heavy they are, what kind of shoe it is. So it could lean you towards a male or a female. It can lead you how tall they are, how heavy they are. And if they walk a certain way, a certain stride, wear their shoe a certain way, the wear of the sole is, wears it out in a certain place. And you find that same shoe that's worn out in a certain place because people walk a little different on, like my son and my wife walk on the inside. So they wear this part out,
So if that shoe print had been left over from days or weeks before, it would have not still been there from the weather.
And plus you can do time because, like I said, if there was weather that would have wiped that out, then you knew approximately when it happened.
Although
In that
Bill
hair.
Lowe's wasn't married at the time of his murder,
I
he
can't
had
help-
3 ex-wives.
Who would think that's okay?
80% of homicides
Oh.
that occur are considered love-hate killings. You had to love the person enough to kill them or hate him enough to kill them.
So if you have to love them enough to kill them or hate them enough to kill them, so is it a good thing that me and my wife don't love each other that much? I mean, we love each other a lot, but we don't love each other enough to kill each other? You don't want to love. I guess that's like an obsessive kind of love, I guess. We just love each other, a normal kind of love. Because we've been together 30 years, so we're doing something right. And we're still happy, So, yeah. So, and I very rarely hate. I mean, dislike. I remember the last time I hated somebody.
I thought Bill, when I first met him, was a gentle, kind.
Why are they hiding her face? We're looking
Bill's
at pictures
family
of her.
wouldn't accept me, 'cause there's no saying in Southern Illinois, you don't come from the right side of the railroad tracks, you're the wrong type.
The right side of the right side of the railroad tracks. That's older. You can tell this is old. Come from the wrong side of the railroad tracks.
And she was convinced he would be a wonderful stepfather to her 17-year-old son, Brian.
He was a great man. I enjoyed going out and doing things with him. The job he had, I used to go.
That's why they're hiding her face, because that outfit right there, he did it. He's in jail right now.
Caused us to decide to separate is when I took one severe beating from him.
Bill was not an
That's-
abusive individual. As
I don't know about that. I mean, if he was drinking, maybe, but he had 2 ex-wives, and did they say anything about him beating? Anything about them beating him? I mean, beating her, them? Because a wife beater is just a wife beater, from what I know. They just don't start later on beating that one wife.
Here she has 20,000 motives to have him killed when she's no longer married to him and she's having financial trouble. So it was a red flag that the
I guess 20,000 back then was a good sum of money, but not now.
Any involvement in Bill's murder.
I won't even buy you a car.
Police asked me about the life insurance, and I told the place I didn't know nothing
Barely
about
buy a
it.
used car, especially right now.
And Wanda had an alibi. On the night of the murder, she was in a bar with her new boyfriend, and there were plenty of witnesses. Her son, Brian, also had a solid alibi. He was camping with his friend, Mike Hale.
That's not a solid alibi. That's a crappy alibi. In the woods camping with one dude that could say, oh yeah, he's with me because he's my friend and I'll lie for him. Now, I wouldn't lie for somebody that is accused of murder because I don't want to be dragged into that.
The police interview with Brian Cruz was routine.
His dad I always wanted and never had. We had great times as a family.
Then why are you in jail for killing him?
Something I'd never had for real all through my childhood.
The sheriff noticed Cruz was wearing athletic shoes that looked similar to the shoe impression found at the crime scene.
If he was wearing shoes that look similar to the shoes, and then you ask to see him, and I bet they match. then why would they say that right before the last kind of commercial look and break, where it goes, fades out and comes back, it said the case soon went cold. Well, it didn't go cold for long if they're interviewing him. Were they interviewing him a year later with the same shoes on?
Compare it directly with the plaster cast because the plaster cast is a positive impression of the outsole. So we're able to compare those with each other.
The plaster cast showed the size, make, and model of the shoe, and just enough of the tread pattern to permit a comparison.
And what are the chances you have the exact same size, make, and model?
Plaster casts were consistent with the wear patterns that were on the suspect's shoes.
It was a gotcha type.
With
piece
close
of
wear patterns?
Information like
It's pretty consistent. What are the chances of that happening? You might need a little more, but once you have that and you start questioning, it's going to all fall apart.
game. What's his
Plus, if his friend was involved, it's really going to fall apart because his friend's going to rat because he doesn't want to go to jail.
He said he went to Bill's home a few days before the
That's not going to work. They already said they checked the weather, and they knew it would have been wiped out if he'd went a few days before.
He left the shoe impression.
So that's not going to work.
Time. And the alibi started to crumble when police discovered that Brian's friend, 31-year-old Mike Hale, had a prior conviction for robbery.
Michael Hale had been to prison already.
Yeah, he's going to rat, especially if he's been to jail before. He's not going to want to go back, not for something somebody else did.
But under pressure, Hale started to change his story. Mike Hale admitted he was with Brian Cruz on the night of the murder and said they stopped by Bill Lowe's home. Hale said he waited outside while Brian went in to speak with his stepfather. He said Brian came out a few minutes...
So the dude goes in and kills his stepfather, and you didn't go to the cops immediately? Instead, you decided to give him an alibi? Forget that noise.
Hale said they walked to a nearby office park where Brian threw the axe handle onto the roof of a vacant office building. Police found a wooden axe handle just where Mike said it would be. Investigators found no fingerprints.
So what are the chances of that? So he's telling the truth as far as there's the axe handle, you're going to have blood on there.
The hair was microscopically similar to that
So
of
immediately
Bill
once you go
Lowe's.
home, you go to the cops. That way you don't seem involved. Now you seem involved like you went in there with him and you robbed the place or something. But the problem is the wallet and everything was still there. So if you would have went to the cops right then, it really would have looked good on you because there was nothing stolen.
With Bill Lowe's blood
And then
type.
that stupid haircut.
Since this was
I'm
before
sorry, I
DNA
can't,
testing,
be able to
investigators
do that.
used
That's
a
crazy.
process called electrophoresis to analyze the blood. The results were clear. This was the
What are the chances of it
victim's
not?
blood.
I mean, they just happen to find a random bat handle that the guy that you're looking at said was up there, and it's not the victim's blood, but it has blood on it.
So we had a murder weapon that we could relate positively back to William Lowe's as it being the murder weapon.
But investigators still needed proof that Brian Cruz was the killer, or was the real killer Mike Hale.
Yeah, see, the cops don't know. Why? Because you're an idiot, and you didn't go to the cops right after he threw the bat up there, and you're like, okay, dude, I'm going home. See you tomorrow. And you go right to the cops right then and say, dude, this is what happened.
Mike Hale said Brian Cruz was the killer. But when told of Hale's statement, Cruz denied it.
I can look you in the eye. You can hook me up to a lie detector test, and I can tell you point blank, I did not kill Bill Lowe's. I did not conspire to kill Bill Lowe's.
Well, of course, a psychopath could always say, you could lie to it. You probably convinced yourself you didn't. You probably convinced yourself he did it.
Was the real killer. Investigators found no blood spatter on Mike Hale's clothing. But on Brian Cruz's black sweatshirt and his jeans, investigators found tiny specks of blood spatter. Blood was Bill Lowe's.
Sorry, that hair every
Blood on
time.
the sweat.
Cruz then admitted he was at Bill's home on the night of the murder, but claimed self-defense.
What happened
Because
with
you're
me
too
that night?
stupid to
Basically,
change
there was
clothes.
Some of my stuff still in the house, and I went over there to
Moron.
get it.
Of course you're going to admit it. And that's what the cops, if they can get you to admit you were there, now they've got you in the place. Now they just got to twist it, not twist it, but now they just got to get out of you what happened. Now they've already put you there.
He swung
That's why you
into
say
the gas
lawyer
handle
from the beginning.
and
Lawyer,
I
lawyer,
took it away
lawyer.
and hit him in the head with it. I know I hit him, but I know I didn't kill him.
You took it away and hit him in the back of the head
He
4
was
times with it.
breathing when I put him in his bed. And
So you took it away, hit him in the back of the head,
I know he was alive when I looked at him.
and no defensive wounds.
Cruz said that Mike Hale returned to the house later and killed Lowe's. But the
And then he returned later and happened to him in the exact same place you did. So you thought about that, but didn't think to remove your clothes.
there was any kind of attack in the kitchen, as Cruz claimed.
Had he been struck any of these blows in the kitchen, he would have shed blood. And there's no blood there.
That's why you say
there
lawyer,
were
so you don't
other
get twisted all in these knots.
discrepancies.
From his voice, I could
You're
tell
a
he'd been
moron.
drinking.
A toxicology test revealed Lowe's blood alcohol level.
Of course it was zero,
was
because he's
zero.
going to mouth off and say he had been drinking.
So those
When
are
you don't know,
points
because
of,
you didn't spend,
of dishonesty there.
need to spend at least a year watching Forensic Files before you do a murder. Have to. Before you go and you want to plan on killing somebody, you got to watch Forensic Files for at least a year. So you can watch all the shows, you can plan it out. Don't just go willy-nilly. Come on, people. God, think about what you're doing. If you're going to do it right.
Prosecutors believe
Or don't
the
do it at all.
motive was money. That Brian Cruz wanted to kill his stepfather before he had a chance to remove his mother as beneficiary.
I could see
of
that
his
guy,
life insurance.
$20,000 being a lot of money to him. He thinking I can get it from mom. Yeah.
According to the forensic evidence, Brian's
And that's why she wasn't showing her face. First of all, she raised him. Second of all, she knows she'd have given it to him.
bedroom window.
And now
to
she's
make
feeling bad about it.
sure He was asleep. That's where he.
Imagine
left
if he'd
his
have gotten
shoe
caught right
brush.
then. So now he looks like a peeping Tom. And I bet with a guy like that, he'd have been like, I'm not a peeping Tom. I'm not peeping into guys' windows. No, I was here to kill him. I was trying to kill him. I'd rather go to jail for murder than to go to jail. People think I'm a gay peeping Tom.
To death.
That's what even an idiot he is.
On Brian's clothes, on the bedroom walls and ceiling, proved he killed Bill Lowe's, and he did it in the bedroom.
And he did
He
it
later
in the bedroom.
disposed of the murder weapon
with the
by
axe
throwing
handle.
it onto the roof of a vacant building.
Instead of throwing it in the garbage where it might get thrown away, instead put it on top of a building where it's just going to stay there and you can find it. Because again, you're a moron.
Mike Hale turned snitch.
Oh, like you turned snitching rat when you said he did it?
Call.
The jury deliberated for just 1 hour before finding
1 hour?
Brian Cruz.
We've been on a jury.
guilty.
It takes a good almost an hour just to get settled, to find out who's going to be the foreman and stuff. So they just all went guilty. Yeah, okay, we're done.
For his part in the crime, Mike Hale was convicted of hindering the prosecution, served 1 month in jail.
Wouldn't have to serve any months in jail if he would have went to the cops that night. That night.
My mom had nothing to do with it. If there's justice, Mike Hale will get his. All I know is one day I should get out of here one day. If there's any justice
You won't get
in
out,
this
dude.
world, I get out one day. I may come right back to prison, but it'd be justified this time.
And that's why you won't get out of
Prosecutors say
prison ever,
it's
because
that
you have an
kind of thinking
you have an attitude like that.
landed Brian Cruz in jail.
That other guy'd have to be asleep
Grateful
because you're not
for
man
the
enough to
signs
confront anybody head on.
put in
Gotta wait till they're asleep.
You started
So if you
out
ever get
with
laid out of
a
prison,
body lying
I'll
in a
just make
bedroom,
sure that, you know,
and it's a complete mystery as to who did it. And
I don't
you
have
end
anything
up
you can
that it
bludgeon
was
me
the
with while I'm
stepson,
asleep.
who had nursed a grudge against this man for some time, and now saw dollar signs of a chance to kill him, so his mother could get some extra money.
While Brian's story lied, and we could tell it was lying, the evidence at the crime scene was telling us a different story, and it doesn't lie.
Well, there's an episode of Forensic Files. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like I said, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment down at the bottom if there's anything else you want me to watch or anything like that. So until the next time, thank you for watching Crane's Bar and Grill. Bye.